So I'm going to read a little bit from my book, Pangat. This is the book, I don't know if you can see it. And the name of this chapter is Food for Widows. And the reason I chose to write about this is it's such a, it's one of those subjects that people like to sweep under the carpet. Every community, um, tries to avoid acknowledging the fact that this exists, in their region, in their community, etc. So I wanted to narrate this one incident that I've heard from my grandmother. Um, I've heard this story often, and it's always resulted in sleepless nights until the memory of it fades. Around the turn of the 20th century, a young widow, barely 14 years old, lived with her widowed mother-in-law and other members of her marital family. The widows seldom stepped out of the house, and their tonsured heads were covered under red or white cloths that were to pass off as saris. Their food was governed by harsh rules: no spices, meat, onions, or garlic, and definitely nothing that would add pleasure to a meal. One day, the family was hosting a dohar jeevan, a feast for an expecting mother, for the young widow's sister-in-law. For this feast, the young girl and her widowed mother-in-law slaved to cook elaborate dishes. Considering this was her first exposure to such an event, she was fascinated by the grandeur of the affair. The countless dishes decoratively arranged on a silver platter in front of the pregnant woman held her enraptured. She stood behind the door and watched stealthily as members of the family lovingly fed the pregnant woman various delicacies as she sat dressed like a queen. The young girl made sure she wasn't seen, lest her bad luck befall the mother-to-be. Tears rolled down her face as she realized she would never experience such pampering, such love. As her mother-in-law asked her why she was so sad on such a happy occasion, she had an emotional outburst. The mother-in-law shushed the young widow and promised her that she would cook her a great feast one day. Sure enough, one day, when the rest of the family was away, the mother-in-law cooked up an elaborate feast and called the young girl into the storeroom. A decorated platter sat there, complete with a rangoli adorning its periphery, and the mother-in-law bolted the room from inside. The older woman fed the daughter-in-law with her own hands as both of them wept silently. That's it for today.